Welcome back to Slide Channel. This time we're doing steering upgrades on the Bomber S13.4. Alright everybody, welcome back. This time on the 240 while the engine is still at the machine shop, so waiting on that. We're going to keep working on other things in the car. We're going to do some steering upgrades. We're going to get rid of the worn rubber bushing that is in the steering shaft, and we're going to be replacing it with a solid aluminum piece. And we're going to get rid of the blown out steering rack bushings and replace them with some new polyurethane bushings, which should give us more feel. It should be tighter steering. Alright, so just like stitch welding, I would recommend you do this when the motor is out. It's pretty difficult. It's still possible to do with the motor in. It's just a lot easier for you to sit here and do all the work. And instead of fighting with the motor and getting underneath the car, you can just sit right here in the engine bay and do all the work. But the idea is pretty simple. They have a rubber bushing that looks very similar to this that is in here. It's supposed to make the ride more comfortable. You don't feel as many vibrations in the steering wheel, but if it's a race car, that's what you want. As a driver, you want to be able to feel what the car is doing at all times, and that's where this aluminum piece comes in. It just goes right here in the steering shaft, and it just makes it tighter. There's going to be no slop at all. Alright, so to give you an idea of how easy this is, it's just this bolt here will loosen this part of the steering shaft, which allows it to slide up and down. And then here, I don't know if you can see because it's pretty dark, but there are 4 bolts here. These 2 are connected to this. The other 2 are from the inside, but they have nuts on this side that's connected to the actual steering wheel assembly. You'll just undo those 4, or actually undo these 2, slide this forward, undo these 2, and then the bushing can come out. You put the aluminum in and just tighten them all up, and then you just tighten this bolt up back here and it should be good to go. And then we'll move on to the steering rack bushings. Alright, so one tip I do have for you already so far is whenever you get the steering rack or the steering column in the correct position where you can reach the bolts, pull your key out of the ignition and it'll lock the wheel. If not, when you go to loosen it, it will just turn the wheel and it'll just all spin. So do that, makes it a lot easier. You won't have to jump back and forth like I just had to do. Alright guys, so we have the lower part of the steering shaft out. What I ended up having to do was remove this bolt, actually on the steering rack itself. So you take out this whole joint, and just these 2 nuts. You leave the bolts in, we'll take those out after. Once you have it already out, it makes it a lot easier. It was easier than I actually thought to get it out. I just had to figure out actually how to take it out. So now I'll actually remove these 2 bolts and we'll replace the rubber bushing. Alright guys, so now we just need to get these little, looks like brass sleeves out. Now all you gotta do is get a socket, set it down, place it on top. I'm just using the end of my ratchet, put it in, and just push out. It comes out just that easy. Alright guys, so now I'm going to actually show you the difference in the stock rubber bushing, which actually isn't blown out. It looks actually alright. If this was just a daily driver, I probably wouldn't change it. But since it's the race car, I want more of the feel in the steering wheel. I don't want any slop when I'm trying to turn. So what I've got is this aluminum one. Same thing. This is solid aluminum. This is rubber. I purchased mine off of eBay from Street Raise. I think it was $17. But just to show you how soft this actually is, if you can hopefully see it, it just flex so easily and squishes. Like I could squish it with my hand. So you know under any type of load when you're actually driving that it'll just bend this and cause nothing to happen. The steering wheel might move or the tires might move even though you're not turning the wheel, which you do not want. You want to be perfectly precise when you're driving. You don't want any margin of error. You don't want to turn the wheel and then the wheels turn a little bit later, or if you hit a bump you don't want your wheels to turn while you're holding the steering wheel straight because it will throw you off. So going from rubber to aluminum, rubber, aluminum, you can hear the difference. And I also cannot squeeze this aluminum or bend it. One thing that I didn't think about beforehand but realized once I was into it, you're gonna need to press these fittings in or have a hammer expert level over 9,000 like I did, and to be able to like tap it in. Now it was very, very tight, but they do fit. They're all in straight. Ooh, let's get in the camera. They're all in straight, but you can see, yeah, I scratched it up pretty good. But they're all in. So now to put it in the car. I know I said I was gonna put it in the car, but we have to put it back on the lower part of the steering shaft before we put it. So I'm gonna do that. Alright, so you just took it out, you put everything together, and now you're getting ready to put it in, and you don't remember how to put it back in. Don't feel bad, it happens to me all the time. So basically, I'm putting this after, just because I honestly forget how to put things in all the time, so I then have to relearn how to put them in. But I just go ahead and what I did was put the bottom of the knuckle in, put the top in just where they're barely in. So I bolted down the bottom of the knuckle, then extended the middle so that I could bolt it fully down to the where the two halves of the steering shaft meet. Once you tighten those down, you'll have the perfect extension length right in the middle, and then you just tighten that up. Now what you want to make sure you do, because you took the steering shaft out, if you turn the wheels and the steering wheel straight and you put it back on, now your steering wheel will show straight, but your wheels will be turned. So you have to make sure that you set your steering wheel straight and your wheels straight and put them together. If not, it will be off, and even though your steering wheel is straight, everything else is turned. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're doing that you don't want to put it back crooked. Now on to the steering rack bushings themselves, now that we're done with the steering column. So we're back on the desk. I can show you the difference of the bushings that I'm taking out versus the bushings that I'm now putting in. So you can see that these are blown. These have had a hard 20 plus years, 23 years I think, of use, and the last two have been drifting. So you can see they're just really dry rotted. It is not good, it's just old rubber bushings, and this one actually ripped. Not from even me taking out, it was ripped before I took it out. Same thing, signs of dry rot and just old bearing use. And we're going to be replacing these two with these that I have over here I got from Energy Suspension. Same thing, I just ordered them off of eBay. They were not too expensive, I don't remember offhand how much they were. So let's look at the difference. And just like I said before, these are poly bushings. These are not rubber. So there you go. You can actually see the difference. Like, see how big this old rubber bushing is and this poly one. There's actually a size difference in how, like how much they've just grown over the years and just worn out. So you can get these bushings in red or black. I chose black just because that's just what I wanted. Alright guys, that's it for this video. It's really not that complicated at all. Takes a little bit of time. If the motor's out, it's really not that big of a deal. Probably say an hour and a half maybe of working to put new steering rack bushings and the solid bushing in the steering. And I got in the car and could shake the wheel because I can't drive it obviously right now. But I got in the car and just shook the wheel from side to side, and before I could feel a little bit of give. Like you'd go, stop, and you just feel a little give, and especially if you yank back, you know, you can kind of feel that slop where the rubber bushing would kind of bend. And that, I mean, it's immediate. The wheels cut side to side. You don't feel any play or any slop at all. So I think this cost me less than $30. So I think it was well worth it. And it's supposed to give me a ton of feel and make the car handle way better on the road. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want any questions or want to see anything or anything like that, just comment. Let me know. Thanks, guys.